Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing great, and if this is your first time clicking on a video of mine, welcome. And if you are one of my few subscribers, thank you for supporting my channel and being here from the very beginning. So as per the title suggests, today we will be talking about the part 2 of season 4 of the Netflix show Emily in Paris. I actually just finished watching it, and I thought I would make this video to see how the show has improved between part 1 and part 2 now, and if overall I liked the 4th season. I will also be talking about the show while drinking some white wine, just because, I mean, we're talking about Emily in Paris, so let's try to be a little glamorous. I say that while wearing flannel. But yeah. And anyway, I wanted to start with the little Air France ad that was plugged in at the very beginning. It's so funny to me that they did that, because Emily in Paris since season 1 the show has been this giant ad for the luxury fashion world for a while. Anything that has kind of ended up being in a storyline or anything of sorts, I've seen, I felt like they're definitely promoting very specific products for these luxury brands. Like, I remember when they did that storyline about the Dior Vespa, the Dior Vespa, that was definitely promo. I feel like at some point in season 1, when Brooklyn Clark shows up, they kind of talk about how Celine wanted her to be in to wear their clothes, but they steered her towards Pierre Cardin. I feel like that was a little bit of a plug in there. And Air France, they already had an ad on the show for Air France where Pierre Cardin's rival, that guy, was supposed to design costumes for Air France. So they've already had that ad, and then most recently they did the one where Emily went into the Air France lounge, which I don't know. I've never been to the Air France lounge in Paris before, but I've been to the one in New York, and it wasn't anything crazy. I think it was just a chill place to hang out and wait for your flight. So I feel like the show definitely romanticized it a lot more, which is how you know it's definitely an ad. I feel like there's definitely a lot more going on in the 4th season of the show, of the second half of the 4th season of the show in general. I feel like the first half was definitely setting up for a lot of the things that they wanted to do for the second half. And then also they just wanted to use the first half to clearly close out a lot of the plot lines that they had set up at the very beginning, or like had been setting up during the previous seasons, and kind of see where the show is going next. I really enjoyed the fact that they did a Christmas episode. It's very rare that you see media about spending Christmas in Paris. It's always like Christmas in London or Christmas somewhere in the United States. So it was very nice to see that, and watching her struggle on the ski slope, I feel like definitely humanized Emily a lot more than she is shown on the show, because she's just perfect at everything. She's amazing. Everything ends up working out for her. Which I have a theory is that is the fact, that is why people actually hate the show. I feel like they watch that show and they watch Emily's Perfect Life, and then they feel inadequate themselves, and that's why they hate the show so much. That's my theory. I just feel like the show is meant to be this really nice, feel good TV show that, allows you to just watch and disappear, but people don't relate to it that way. They see it more so as Emily's living this perfect life, and they don't like that. And then I just love the fact that when they were in Megève, when they were skiing, Gerard invited Emily. That man does not care about any of the drama that's been going on between Camille, Gabriel, and Emily. He's just vibing, and I just love that for him. How he just doesn't care. He's just existing, and yeah, he's amazing. I, by the way, if you're not drinking wine, feel free to grab yourself a glass and, enjoy with me. If you can't drink wine, feel free to grab yourself a soft drink or water, something to, feel like you're included. But I also really like the fact that Brigitte Macron herself, the first lady of France, finally did a cameo on the show, because in season 1, the first couple of episodes, she retweets Emily, and it's this really big big welcome for her to France. And finally it allowed Sylvie and the rest of her coworkers to finally start taking Emily a little bit seriously and seeing her as an asset to the team, rather than being kind of more so of something that more so of an obstacle for the team. And I like the fact that the first lady finally agreed to cameo in the show. That was really nice. And also, I think that's good, because I feel like a lot of French people definitely don't like the show. And I mean, I don't know if French people like Brigitte Macron, but that's good. I don't know, maybe it will incentivize some more French people to feel less offended by some of the things that Emily does. And it's so funny, because at some point Luc goes, oh, Brigitte Macron is exactly his type, and it would have been great for him to be there. And then Sylvie goes, no, I don't think you're her type, which I think is a little bit of a dig as to the fact that her husband is so much younger than her, because the first lady is, I think, 71 years old, and her husband, the president, Emmanuel Macron, is in his 40s. So bit of an age gap there, just a little bit of an age gap there. So yeah. And then we need to move on to the really big thing that happened in the second half, which is the fact that a brand new American girl has shown up at the office, and this girl is also Sylvie's stepdaughter, as well as the fact that she speaks French. She just looks elegant. She's got bangs, which it took Emily so long to get a chic haircut. And she's this new American girl, Genevieve. She's already starting off with a chic haircut. She gets a makeover from Sylvie immediately, after arriving at Agence Gratteau. And it's just, she's lucky, and I feel like I would have thought that Emily would have felt a little bit threatened, but it's so nice to see Emily definitely feel like, oh, she's gonna instead welcome this girl and take her under her wing. I wish Genevieve also saw it that way, because since Genevieve arrived, she's definitely made it her mission to try and steal Gabriel for herself. I did not like that. That was sketchy as hell. But I'm glad that the whole time I was watching, since Genevieve showed up in the show and was doing all of the stuff with Gabriel, I was thinking he needs to put his foot down and set a boundary with this girl. And I'm glad that's exactly what happened by the end of the season. That was amazing. I like that. It would be interesting to see what they end up doing with the character in season 5, which I feel like they should get a season 5 renewal, right? The show is very popular, and I feel like they should, but it's also Netflix, so you never know. And then with regards to Emily and Gabriel specifically, since season 1, I felt like they've been telling this grand love story between her and Gabriel, and where it felt like Camille was this convenient obstacle that was getting in the way of their true love and this amazing whatever. And so far, for the first 3 seasons, they've told the story with a little bit of moral ambiguity there, because Camille doesn't end up being the scorned woman where she's completely innocent. And I think I said it in my review of the first half, that they ruined Camille and made her mean just to be able to then justify why Emily is so awful. And yeah, it felt like they were telling the story about them being their grand loves. And honestly, I think that's where the writers are definitely going towards. It was never a choice between Gabriel and Alfie. It was always Gabriel from the very start. Alfie was just this nice guy that kind of got caught up in the story. And that's how I feel about the new guy, Marcello, that is being introduced in season 3. I don't know what they plan on doing with Alfie, if they're gonna give him less scenes in the show, or he's gonna become less relevant. Him and Camille both. But it's very obvious that they're trying to set up a brand new, essentially restart the show, right? Like bring Emily to Rome. So that's a new city. Literally, like it's so on the nose. When she arrives in Rome, the guy who introduces her to the apartment tells her literally exactly the same thing that the guy who introduced Emily to Paris had said to her when she first arrived in season 1. So it's clear that they've told the story to a certain extent where they've backed themselves into a bit of a wall, and they're trying to introduce new characters, introduce new places and storylines to be able to create a more interesting world again. And I feel like they're about to tell exactly the same story that's happened with Camille, Alfie, Gabriel, and Emily all over again, but with this new girl that is Genevieve. Obviously, Genevieve essentially being Emily this time in the story, and then Emily being Camille this time, and then Gabriel obviously being Gabriel again, and then Marcello essentially taking over the role of Alfie being the other guy that Emily thinks she likes, and she's stringing along, but you know, is probably never going to get anywhere, because Emily's real love interest in the show is Gabriel, and so no matter how far she circles or how far she goes, she'll always make her way back to him. And yeah, I'm very excited about the fact that Alfie, it looks like he finally got his happily ever after and found a girl or a woman, or hopefully not a girl, a woman that matches his energy, that is just as interested in him as she is, you know, in him, as he is in her. I'm not even sure what I'm saying. I think that Emily in Paris also did, like, they missed a chance when Emily went to Rome, especially because she was there for the entire final episode. When she went, I thought that they would do this thing where Jane the Virgin, I can't talk, this thing that Jane the Virgin had done back in the day, where they, one second, I forgot to drink. Am I tipsy enough yet? I don't know. But yeah, they did Jane the Virgin back in the day. When Jane lost her virginity, they would start using the G or the Y or something to cross out the word virgin. And I thought it was very, very cute. And when Emily went to Rome, I thought that they would do this thing where in the beginning, when they roll the title, it would be like Emily in Paris, and then they cancel it and then put like Emily in Rome or something like that. I thought that it would have been cute, but they didn't do that. I was a little disappointed, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. Overall, I really enjoyed the season. It was amazing. I felt like the second half of the season definitely had a lot more plot versus the first half, but I already mentioned it, that I felt like they were just trying to close out old storylines with the first half of the season. And I feel like this has also just been their most truly eventful season. It's so funny because I feel like, I keep saying I feel like, it's so funny because I think that within the 40 episodes that they've had from season 1 till season 4, they've told the length of story that usually gets told in one season for 23 episode TV shows, back when all the teen shows like One Tree Hill, Gossip Girl, and whatnot were telling those kinds of stories with those kinds of lengths. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that they've spent nearly 4 years telling the kind of story that back in the day would have been told within maybe one season. So it's crazy, but I hope we don't end up having to wait too long to see season 5. I love the show. I know it's not the most it's not, you know, it's not prestige TV, but I love it. I love watching it, and I hope you guys do too. Let me know what you think of the show in general and what you thought of the season down in the comments below. And if you're new here, again, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I don't know why I said please subscribe to my channel to support a brand new YouTube account or a growing account. And yeah, santé. Cheers to everyone. Bye.